Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And in today's video, we're going to look at the market, of course, and how it is focusing away from Bitcoin for investment. Well, let me rephrase that. The scope of projects that are being considered is getting much wider. Thus, investment money is getting thinner for Bitcoin. Also, we're going to take a look at attorney John Deaton. He had a very interesting experience where he took Bitcoin over the XRP ledger and found something very surprising. Also, too, there's a very important webinar that is coming up, and he is going to be a part of that. I think you'll want to register for it. And lastly, we have the changes to the FLR or Flare Spark token distribution. I'm sure you're very interested in knowing what's going on. I have a latest update. Something just occurred in the last hour, and I will share that with you. Here, I want to point out, I found a new heat map. This is Quantify Crypto, and it's really very good. You can take a look at up to 100 coins at a time, or even the all coin option. 10, 20, 36, 50, and you can look at it on the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the yearly, or the year to date. And if you are interested in a project, you just mouse over and it'll give you the 7 days, 30-day, and the 1 year and year to date, the trend mean, the RSI, and other information that gives you a quick study of what it is you're looking at. And you can see that the market is extremely soft. It has been down a little bit today, just about 10% in volume, and in market cap we're at 1.5 trillion versus yesterday we were at 1.6. Yeah, still the whole entire market is very correlated to Bitcoin. This particular new heat map too has in-depth tools where you can go and take a look at the technical scores. Here you see Bitcoin is slightly bearish with a 35 score, and we go across you can see the Bollinger Bands, you can see there is the RSI, and if you come all the way down you can even take a look at the trading maps with the candles. This is, of course, charting by trading view, right? Yeah. So I like it. I like it a lot. And when we take a look at XRP, it is sitting at a slightly bullish 62.1 technical score. And having a look at the chart, really sideways. Really, really, really sideways. And then what I do want to show you is illustrate one thing here. Take a look at this. We're looking at all coins yearly with all the exchanges, and everyone is up. It's just quite amazing, isn't it? But let me just make one change and go to the monthly, and you're going to see most everything is down. Wow, that puts things into perspective, doesn't it? All right, going on to Grayscale. This is really most interesting because tokens that Grayscale is considering to add to their investment fund is really now looking at projects that are with proven utility. And it's starting to really reveal the winners, I think. Utility does matter. You know, on this list, we do have some that haven't really fully exercised their utility, like ADA, but you have Tezos and Monero, and a brand new one was added. That was Solana. And on December 6th, Solana had an unidentified bug. It took 6 hours for the network to restart. The bug was fixed, and they have continued to operate without any problems since. You know, they have an aggressive bug bounty for theft of funds, which provide those bug hunters very handsome payouts, like up to 500,000 US dollars if you catch a bug that is part of the theft of funds without signatures. Or you can get paid $250,000 for catching a bug that is tricking a validator. And other types of bugs too can be found that, of course, negatively affect the network. And there are people who make good money, because if you're good at finding bugs, you're going to make a lot of money. One of those black hat hunters is Tommy DeVos, and he began breaking into websites at the age of 10. By age 19, he was working for the U.S. Department of Defense. He's one of the 8 hackers that are known to have earned nearly $1 million every year. If you go to his Twitter feed, it's most interesting. And talking about utility, John Deaton today tweeted out that he had this demo where 105 Bitcoin were sent over the XRP ledger in a few seconds with a transaction fee of 0.00005. And he was using the Spendabits application. That's moving almost 4 million for less than a penny. I think it's nice because this is a project that I have really believed in since last September. The most recent video I did, you can find on my YouTube channel or even in the Twitter feed, and it is called Bitcoin is Better with XRP. I'm so happy to see that John is also going to help Jay break into the El Salvadorian market. And here we have John also is going to be in a webinar June 24th, Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with some very interesting people, professor of law, researchers, and of course the very famous writer who has written a lot on the SEC versus Ripple case, and that would be Rosalind Layton. So if you register, I think it's going to be one you don't want to miss. I don't know if they're going to archive the videos, so I think it's probably important that you tune in, because it's going to look on how the SEC has taken this regulation by enforcement, and with the appeals for clarity really falling on deaf ears. So I'll put the link, of course, in the Twitter feed. And JC Collins put out a poll. We have 1 day left. There are 3,127 votes already. That is really increasing quickly. And what it is it's asking for your opinion on which option of the FLR distribution do you agree with. Option 1, where the burning of the initial 15% to get the rest of the distribution as planned, 2 to 3% per month. Option 2, burn 85% of the FLR and get only 15%, which would be proportional in value. Or 3, just keep the original distribution. Well, it's not exactly shaking out to be exactly those 3 options, because there are some changes. And if you feel lost, don't worry. This is in reference to a blog that went out on the flare.xyz website that was published just in the last 24 hours. And you can see here that there are a couple of new proposals. These proposals are coming from FlareNetworks, but that doesn't mean that other proposals can't be brought forth. The Spark distribution will now be set up as follows. At the outset, 15% of the total distribution of the 100 billion Spark FLR will be made, and then there will be a 5-month period whereby the community can come to a consensus over at least 2 possible governance proposals, and that means at least 2 possible. So we've got 2 here, and I would say that it's possible we might see more proposals, and any other option put forward by governance. And number 3, if no new option wins the distribution, will continue from month 6 as previous defined at 3% of the initial 100 billion. So I think it's really important that you study for yourself the different proposals, and it really is going to be difficult for everyone to come to consensus as a majority of, as a whole. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different opinions because the tax implications for receiving an airdrop in various jurisdictions is a case-by-case situation depending on where you live. So we know that the first 15% are at a zero tax implication, but for some countries, yeah, it gets very blurry as to how to handle the long-term distribution of 3% a month, as the price of that token is going to move with the market because the market decides the value. So there'll be this 5-month period where the community can at least come to a consensus of sorts that will bring it forward. And yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting process because this is true democracy. It really is. I mean, you have a situation here where the governance is going to be maybe a first-time experience for a lot of token holders, and it's a process. This is what happens when a coin is governed by a community, and we must learn how to do it. So there's no doubt there's going to be some strong opinions, and I, for one, expect and invite that. We should respect everyone's thoughts because we're all coming from fairly unique points of view. There is a person on Twitter by the name of @ConsistentBenny. He gave a very good thread to break down into bite-sized pieces the clarity. I recommend having a look at what he put out there. And then just in the last hour, Hugo gave an insightful 8-part tweet with his thoughts on the two options proposed to try to bring a fitting solution to the concerns out there. The 5-month governance time, he says, should be lengthy so that the exchanges can communicate to the users what they intend to do with the Spark token, whether they're going to support it, etc. And I think that really helps the Flare owners vote with this in mind. So you'll want to study the two proposals, and they are on the flare.xyz website on the blog. And next week, Hugo is going to be happy to answer any questions. I'm sure we'll bring him into a Twitter space, and that Q&A will occur. So just keep a cool head, a chilled mind, and this is going to be a very interesting process for everyone. I'm jumping to the fluff. I'm going to talk about this webinar that's going to occur in Japan. It's free for anybody to attend. Saturday, June 19th from 11 a.m. to 12:30. It talks about how to buy a home in Japan if you are a foreigner. It also is going to touch on the the real estate market trends, the interest rates, financing options, tax benefits, tax deductions, how to negotiate. Yeah, it's, I think, interesting because I know a lot of people ask me about how to buy a house here. So this is going to be a very good resource for you. And especially, I do believe they're going to touch on buying these Akia homes, the vacant homes. There are so many deals where they almost give them away for free in the rural countryside to try to bring residents back. There is a declining population as a whole in the country, but also it's very, very much felt in the smaller outlying communities because everybody has come to either Osaka, Fukuoka, or Tokyo for work, and that leaves a lot of these rural areas with a small population. And as the elderly population dies off, some of these houses end up being left vacant. And yeah, it's just it's a real challenge, and they're doing some very creative things to find people to be new homeowners for these vacant homes. So they're very very interesting, not only because sometimes they're given away almost free, but some of them are also very historical and have touches of traditional Japan that are really precious. And so I'll put this link also to the Real Estate Japan. This is the list of properties I guess they're going to focus on. It's interesting. It's got a lot of diversity in what is being offered, from freestanding homes to condominiums. And the last thing I want to talk about is, do you remember that there was a new Tamagotchi coming out in the 25th anniversary of this toy by Bandai? Well, we found out what is happening. Yes, it is a Tamagotchi watch. So there we go. That's the new edition, and it is probably going to be very, very popular. No doubt. Okay. Everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.